Listen, we're about to find out if dolphins are OP as part of the whale tier list. Hey, we're going to find out. Tirzu ain't never let me down with the info. So let's get it.
So when the metal hit his mug, he just sunk in place. 100K Holla, chillin' Bahamas. Come home to your crib and throw in your mama.
What is good, HollaSquad? We are, you know what I'm saying, the Little Squad on the YouTube platform. Listen, today we're back with another reaction. And we got our Dolphins OP, the whale tier list. Now, I'm going to be honest. Me and Simba the guy, we were sitting there. We're in Kentucky. And we're putting our homie Crypt on Tirzu. We're showing him Tirzu videos. We're like, hey, y'all ain't know animals was like this. Because we are on the countryside of the country. All right? So they got the cottonmouth snake, they said. And I was like, nah, bro, I heard that's an S-tier snake. I'm going to stay inside. I ain't going outside. But ever since I've been watching Tirzu, I've never been able to look at animals the same. I look at them, and all I see is they stats and how they used to run the server. Listen, my brain is broken now. But before we hop into this, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff, and let's get it.
This episode was sponsored by Wix.
Yo, I ain't.
The Cetacean
Bro, I seen like 30 dolphins pulling up on my mans.
class is one of the most powerful build types in the history of the game. Some of the most broken abilities and some of the most powerful stats can be accessed by playing this build. When it comes to the marine server, Cetaceans boast some of the highest intelligence and HP stats possible,
Jesus.
and they're relatively new to the competitive scene. The story of the Cetaceans' rise to power is perhaps one of the most unique stories in the entire history of the game. The Cetacean build began when some low-level mammal players tried to create a mammalian version of the crocodile build.
Okay.
It didn't work very well catching players on the shore. And because warm-blooded builds have a higher food cost, this was especially problematic.
Okay.
But this build was surprisingly effective at catching fish in the water, due to their high aquatic agility. And so they basically just kept spending evolution points buffing traits related to hunting fish, until eventually they'd reallocated just about all of their land-based ability skill points to aquatic ones. It wasn't long before the seas were dominated by cetacean players.
So mammals running the land and the ocean. Maybe we do need to step foot down in there in that ocean and see what that other 95%. I'm joking. I don't want to go down there. All right, so anybody else want to volunteer for that? That's on y'all.
Both of the smaller, more agile variety, and of the new giant powerhouse variety. Skipping forward to today, we've got a multitude of powerful cetacean builds occupying different roles within the meta.
Jeez.
So as always, let's delve into the different variations of the cetacean class and rank them on a tier list.
All right, let's
Now,
get it,
I'm happy to
let's
say
get it.
that I'm going to have to start pretty high up on the tier list when rating cetaceans. There aren't any I could even consider at or below average. All of them are at
Yo, nah, see, this is why I'm not playing with the water, all right? They said there is nothing at the bottom of the tier list, all right? There's no F tier, all right? I got to show my hate for the ostriches real quick, all right? I hate the ostriches. Them joints too big to be F tier, all right? And dolphins, whales, they ain't even got nothing down there, all right? Birds, step your game up.
least B tier. But yeah, starting in B tier, we have the two cetacean builds that are
Starting in B tier, that's crazy.
specifically adapted to the Arctic server, the beluga and the narwhal. So the beluga and the narwhal both made sacrifices to mobility in order to gain the cold resistance perk that they needed in order to survive the Arctic server. On
Okay.
top of the typical choice to put points into blubber, belugas and narwhals both also opted to cut the dorsal fin perk, which lowers their overall agility in the water but helps conserve heat. Both also made significant sacrifices to their vision, but luckily for them, cetaceans have access to one of the most overpowered abilities in the entire game.
That's sonar,
Echolocation.
echolocation.
Only a few
same thing,
classes have
right?
unlocked this ability. Cetaceans, bats, shrews, and a few others. And it lets them
Shrews.
entirely negate the stealth abilities of other players. If you're playing as a fish, crustacean, or cephalopod, and you hear this sound, know that you've been detected and will need to either take cover or prepare to fight. This ability also helps them detect locations where they can resurface to breathe, since a big danger of the whale's playstyle of living down under the ice is
So I wonder, like, could whales technically, like, obviously they wouldn't be as big, but like if they go deeper in the ocean, they could survive because they could see in the dark with echolocation. Yeah, see, that just makes me not want to go down to the depths of the ocean even more.
being unable to find an opening in the ice where they can come up for air. In the case of the narwhal, their tusk does grant them bonus damage and a pretty powerful intimidation buff, but honestly they don't really need this. They're already quite well suited to taking out fish players.
Crazy.
But the extra attack range certainly doesn't hurt. The only reason I rate these builds as lower than other cetaceans is because the other builds are more versatile in the servers that they can play on, rather than limiting themselves only to the Arctic. At the top end of B tier, we have the Boto, a smaller cetacean build specifically adapted for the Amazon River. This build is special because it puts the maximum amount of evolution points into the echolocation skill. Along its snout are whiskers
my
that
man
buff the
forehead
accuracy
lopsided.
of echolocation's target locating effect. This offsets the near total blindness of the Boto. The Boto doesn't really have a ton of competition in its local meta, so it's tough to gauge its prowess in combat. The other top tiers of the region include the Jaguar and the Otter, but neither of them are big enough or mobile enough to successfully bring down a Boto. It'd be a lot easier to place them if they had to contend with crocodiles and sharks for control of the rivers.
Okay.
But the one thing that I can say is that one of the cetacean's other big weaknesses is particularly bad for the Boto. Cetaceans lack a sense of smell,
Dreaded was
and this
good.
leaves them particularly vulnerable to pollution. Pollution is a big problem in the Amazon, and without the ability to sense when the water around you is contaminated, the Boto is at a pretty high risk for being poisoned by the waste generated by human players.
Listen, humans, we're going to lead to them using some evolution points on smell, and they going to get even more powerful, all right? So let's stop the pollution. Not like that should be the only reason we should stop it. Y'all should. I already told y'all how I feel about littering, all right? I ain't going to start my speech because we got Panda in the chat. But listen, I'm a zero tolerance for littering, okay?
Next on the tier list is a group that I personally really dislike for being kind of lazy brain-dead characters that are nonetheless extremely powerful.
Imagine a lazy brain-dead character being B tier above, bruh. Listen, I don't want no smoke with the whales, bruh. No smoke with the whales.
I'm talking about baleen whales, such as the blue whale and humpback whale. Baleen whales are a variation of the cetacean build that arose when cetaceans first really hit the big time, reaching such a massive size that size alone was the only defense that they really needed. And so they kind of just took all of the really cool, unique abilities that cetaceans had and said, well, why would I need that when I can just be real big? And so they opted to sacrifice their echolocation ability to reach the maximum HP level attainable. They also traded their teeth for an entirely new style of weapon called Baleen. Baleen doesn't do any damage in combat, except against players in the micro weight class. Most of the time, larger builds don't bother griefing players in the micro weight class, simply because they aren't worth the XP. But Baleen is so efficient at catching krill that whales can rack up an absurdly high KD ratio, enough to offset the low XP value from each individual krill. There's something about the largest builds in the game having a game plan centered entirely around winning against the smallest players in the game that doesn't sit right with me. But I can't deny that baleen whales are nearly invincible because of their size, and because of that they earn a pretty easy A tier spot. The only builds that can pose a threat to them are humans and the top contender on this list. But this isn't to say that you can't make the giant style build work while still retaining what makes the cetacean build interesting. The sperm whale retains all the awesome cetacean abilities and has some pretty powerful stats to back it up.
That's crazy.
And it uses them to fight against some of the most powerful opponents in the entire ocean server, the giant squid. Sperm whales have mastered the giant squid matchup, and despite the squid's claws, beak, and superior mobility, the whale wins almost every time.
That's crazy. They just boxing up. They boxing up everything down there. Listen, and we on land. We scared of what's the king of the jungle? The lion, right? Even though it shouldn't be the lion, it should probably be like a bear or the gorilla or something like that. These joints is literally boxing up, or maybe the elephant, right? The elephant might be the elephant should be the real king, all right? It's not as fancy as the lion though, or the tiger, lion. But these whales, undisputed champions, all right? Out here looking like Floyd Mayweather in the ocean.
That's it for A tier, but we've still got the top tier left. First, we've got the best intelligence build in the entire ocean server, the bottlenose dolphin. They're by far the most widespread and numerous cetacean build, and it's no surprise why so many players chose the dolphin as their main. Even though they didn't spec into the baleen trait, they can still catch a huge amount of small fish by using their intelligence and team strategies to set traps, meaning that a coordinated assault by a group of dolphin mains can easily mean game over for entire schools of fish.
That's crazy.
Dolphins have great matchups against the other top tiers of the ocean meta, like the octopus and shark. Their echolocation completely negates the otherwise undetectable stealth that octopi have in their shapeshift ability. They're pretty much defenseless once detected, as even their ink cloud ability doesn't counter the dolphin's sonar.
That's insane, bruh.
Sharks are a different story. Sharks are perhaps the one build in the game with an even more powerful sensory ability than dolphins. Electroreception allows them to sense any movement made by a nearby player, and works in a full 360-degree circle around them.
Yeah, that's wild, bro. We did the shark tier list.
So you'd think sharks would be a huge problem for dolphin players, and one-on-one, they certainly are. Especially since dolphins don't really have any powerful offensive moves. But because of the dolphin's intelligence, they know exactly where to hit a shark in order to deal maximum damage, the gills. A few good head bashes to the gills is enough to turn the tide of battle pretty quickly against them.
That's crazy. Dolphins is sitting in their classrooms under the water like, all right, this is what we gonna do. All right, if we attack the shark right here, all right, we gonna take him out. All right, so the point A, they buzz like the little red points when you play video games, and it'd be like hit the boss right here. They know all the sharks' weak spot. That's crazy. Listen, keep me on land. That's all I gotta say.
Dolphins are even good at messing with humans, something very few builds actually succeed at.
Crazy.
But if you want to really be able to bully humans, you're going to need to play as the #1 build on this list, which is coincidentally the #2 ranked build in the entire game, second only to humans themselves. And this is of course the Orca. Orca mains are the most disrespectful BM players in the history of Outside. Their up throw is second to none in terms of damage, and gives the victim plenty of time to contemplate their poor character choice. Second to none in terms of damage.
Is that a fish? Yo, they slapped the fish out the water and said, all right, I'm going to wait for you to come back. And then I'm going to eat you. Disrespectful.
And gives the victim plenty of time to contemplate their poor character choice. Orcas are also perhaps the best marine build for dealing with platform campers. Their high intelligence level enables them to either bait an approach, or if that doesn't work, they'll generate a wave to knock their opponent off the ground. Their intelligence level is only a tiny bit below the dolphins, but that's plenty enough to give the Orca all the smarts it needs to deal with the defensive strategies of the likes of dolphins, seals, and even other whales. They've also got enough smarts to know not to make enemies with humans. There have been
Orcas, I would ask for a hug, but I'm going to need you to stay way over there, okay? At least they not messing with us. That's the type of respect I like, all right? That's it. That's all I ask for.
no fatal attacks on humans by wild Orca mains. Now, this isn't to say that they don't mess with each other every so often. Orcas will divert the course of ships, humans will acidify the ocean, you know, classic pranks. But all in all, the Orca player base knows that the best way to stay at #2 on the tier list is not to anger the ridiculously OP human player.
Hold up. What is this? How is it? Is this a bee or something? A wasp? What is this? I need to find a video on this, so somebody link this to me. How did this get up here? All right.
Base. So one question that I get a lot is whether or not I think a cetacean build could supplant humans and claim the #1 spot, and unfortunately I'm pretty sure the answer is no. Cetaceans have the intelligence, but I can't see anything beating humans without unlocking some of the higher rungs on the tech tree. And unfortunately these are basically unreachable without control of fire
Facts.
and also eventually control of electricity, both of which are pretty much impossible to unlock through gameplay on the marine servers. They'd also need to put some points into dexterity so that they could actually use tools. This is also really difficult because if they just traded their fins for hands, they'd lose too much mobility to be able to catch fish. They may
The
not be
feet
able to
look
build their own
crazy.
civilizations, but they still might be able to build a website using Wix because of how easy they make the design process. Wix is a website builder that's
Shout out to the sponsor of the vid. I think that's the end of the vid. They're gonna do some. Listen, the humans is out here running things on the land. All right, we out here. We created societies. We got agriculture. We got a fire. What was the other tool that you need to create a society? We got tool use. All right, and y'all running things down there in the water, and we gonna let y'all have that. And on behalf of the representative of the humans, orcas, let me tell y'all, we don't want no smoke, all right? I know we may swim occasionally. You know what I'm saying? We may drop some bombs in the water to test. But that's it, all right? Y'all can eat everything down there y'all want. We good up here. But listen, y'all let me know how I feel about this down below. I did not know the whales' intelligence was so OP. It's actually pretty terrifying. I never want to go back in the water. But the good thing is, it said no fatal attacks to humans by those whales, which is crazy because hippos is out here KD ratio through the roof with humans. All right, we need to have the whales sit down with the hippos and discuss leaving us alone. All right, but y'all like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff, and until the next vid, we out of here.